which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room? Like, you giving like the Any Given Sunday Inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like, I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the fourth number one seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, second overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 a night.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pitch, the players, the hustlers, the people, the busters, but everybody else in between. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. Let's do this thing. Countdown to tip-off is on. It's the calm before the storm, and it's a little bit anticlimactic right now. We've got college basketball fever, and there is no college basketball. There's a ton of NBA basketball in the late night hours of this evening, but in typical NBA fashion, most of the games nobody is playing in. And so the NBA takes center stage. We've got 5 late night games: Lakers, Spurs, Blazers, Wizards, Raptors, and the Phoenix Suns. The Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors would have been a good game. There's no Jamal Murray. There's no Joker for the Denver Nuggets. Golden State are laying 11.5. The total's 233. Memphis and Sacramento. There's no Ja Morant. Sacramento are now 3-point favorites, minus 155 on the money line. I think the Kings will get it done tonight. Do I love it? No. But as far as the games that are on the board here this evening, I do think Sacramento will get it done on their home court tonight. And you have to ask yourself, do you want to lay 9 points with the Phoenix Suns against anybody right now? And the Toronto Raptors actually do cover point spreads. The Raptors are shorthanded as well, but the Raptors are shorthanded every night. They're trying to tank, and they still cover point spreads. They're getting 9 points. My 2 late-night NBA plays will be Sacramento moneyline, Toronto Raptors plus 9. Washington Wizards and Portland Trailblazers. Wizards have won a couple of games. They're getting 6 tonight. We got a couple of minutes until that tips off, and you got the Spurs and Lakers in about 40 minutes time. Spurs are getting 9.5. Luka is playing for the Lakers this evening. NHL hockey, everything started early tonight. We got one late game, but it's not even that really late. We've got 14 minutes left in the third period right now. We got 7 minutes left in the third period in Toronto. The Maple Leafs are mauling the Calgary Flames 6-1. Meanwhile, the Kings and the Wild are in Minnesota right now, tied at 1 with 14 minutes left. I like the under of this hockey game. Got a full slate of hockey tomorrow, and these games are all starting to matter right now as teams have less than 20 games left in the regular season. Major League Baseball, first pitch, rapidly approaching. First pitch, 3:10 a.m. Pacific time, 6 in the morning. I guess first pitch is 6:10 when it's all said and done, Eastern time in the morning. The Dodgers and the Cubs. Mookie Betts will not play in either game as Mookie Betts has lost weight. He's sick. He got an illness, so he's not going to play in these two games. Been a little bit of live movement as well. You can make an argument that Mookie Betts is worth more than 10 cents to a line, right? But the Dodgers were minus 165. It's now minus 155. The total, though, is what's more intriguing. The total was sitting at 8.5 for the last week and a half or so, whatever, since they posted the number. It's now 8. So, Mookie Betts' absence has affected the number a little bit as far as the total is concerned. I do like the under of this game. I like it better at 8.5, but the over 8 is plus 100 right now. We'll see what kind of juice we have to lay to get 8.5 still. There's still 8.5 on the board for tomorrow with Steele and Sasaki on the hill. Imanaga and Yamamoto go tonight, and all Japanese. 3 of the 4 starting pitchers are Japanese. And the Cubs and Dodgers have already been there playing exhibition games. The Dodgers actually lost to the Hanshin Tigers over the weekend. They played a couple of games. They won one of them, and then they lost the other one. So the Dodgers and the Cubs play for real 2 games, and then Major League Baseball starts next week. But the countdown is on for real. It's next Thursday. Everybody starts playing Major League Baseball. Starts sooner than it ever has before. So the NCAA tournament, we're set to dance. We're set to rock. St. Francis, Pennsylvania, getting 4 points right now. Alabama State, we're laying 3.5. It's gone up. In these games, can you really trust either team to be laying points, right? St. Francis, they don't even have a winning record, but there's always these upstart teams and these Cinderella teams. To me, getting 4 seems more attractive than laying 4. And the money's just steaming in on the North Carolina Tar Heels right now. A North Carolina basketball team that lawsuits are being filed because clearly there's nothing else more important in the state of West Virginia that the governor, should be doing than holding press conferences threatening to sue the NCAA. What exactly is your lawsuit anyways? We're the 71st best team in the country and we weren't treated fairly. I'm not going to lose sleep over any of this stuff. I've said this for years, right? This is the problem, too. You want to expand the college football playoff, whatever, dude. Then, the 15 team is just going to cry. And the 17 team that's left out is just going to cry. It'll never end. But do I feel sorry for West Virginia? Not really, right? You won 19 games, right? You get these teams. You want to complain now. You should have won more during the regular season. And you would have been in this position, although I am in favor of expanding the field a little bit. I don't have a problem with expanding the field to 72. So everybody's flipping out about North Carolina not, deserving to be in the tournament. But here we are right now. Everybody is betting on North Carolina. North Carolina, 5-point favorites, total 142.5 against San Diego State. Mount St. Mary's an American on Wednesday in one of the play-ins. And we got a big-time game here with Xavier and Texas. Of course, there has been a long history of teams that play in the first 4 going on a run after, right? We've seen it time and time again. And in fact, not only they go on runs, they've actually made it to the final 4 before. So there's a lot of trends, there's a lot of history that you're going to hear over the last couple of days. It's almost overwhelming. Since the first 4 started in 2011. 13 teams have won multiple NCAA tournament games after the fact. That's pretty significant right there. 13 teams. So basically, one of these first 4 teams is going to go on a little bit of a run. And some of them have even gone on to the Final 4 after. Remember, VCU played in the play-in. They went to the Final 4. LaSalle played in the play-in. They went to the Sweet 16. Tennessee played in the play-in. They went to the Sweet 16. UCLA played in the play-in 2021. They ended up going to the Final 4. We've had 2 teams go from the first 4 to the Final 4, actually. So, people are trying to, is it going to be in North Carolina? Xavier and Texas will both be dangerous if they both win and advance. I'm actually leaning with the Texas Longhorns right now. We'll go over all the numbers, the updated odds, the regional odds, some props, and everything else in between. looking at some of these numbers here, something that, amazes me, because the fact, people talk about Cinderellas and stuff like this come March Madness, but the fact of the matter is the clock always strikes midnight, all right? Cinderellas don't win. They'll be a small-tier school. They'll be a good story. They're going to win a game or two, and they're going to capture everybody's hearts and imagination. But when it's all said and done, they're not going to win, right? 13 of the last 17 champions have been one seeds. Like the one seed, it's a one seed tournament. A 2 seed has a chance of winning, but for the most part, it's a 1 seed tournament. But what's amazing to me is it's only happened one time that all 4 1 seeds actually made it to the Final Four, which is pretty wild to me. So we'll get into the odds of how many teams that are 1 seeds going to make it to the Final Four, who's the most vulnerable to get knocked off. We've got a lot of stuff to break down tonight, obviously, with the start of Major League Baseball as well. Let's do this thing. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. This is SportsRage. Bring it.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The Pistol Players, the Hustlers, the people, the Busters, but everybody else in between. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. The tournament set to begin as well. The brackets are being filled out as we speak. And as I stated off the top, it's fascinating to me that only once has all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four. You have to go back to 2008 for that to happen. Yet every year when people fill out their brackets and when the so-called experts break it down, and I'm watching ESPN's bracketology show right now, obviously the sound is down right now, but they don't basically have any upsets. right? Like every favorite is going to win because of this, and they're just better, and nobody's really getting too bold. Yet you really have to, right? You know, the NCAA tournament's a weird anomaly when it comes to betting and predicting it, in that a 1 seed always wins, but which 1 seed is going to be the ones to win? And there's always a bunch of Cinderella teams that'll really like tear up the bracket. Like, you know, 2 games in, you're going to see people going, oh my God, I can't believe that team just lost. But it doesn't mean that team was going to win the championship when it was all said and done. And this is a tricky of a tournament to pick a winner, I think, as ever. I've talked a lot about the formulas, and there's a lot of formulas out there to pick the national champion. Except this year, there's a lot of teams that meet the metrics, or at least should meet the metrics, and the teams that don't meet the metrics are damn good as well. So this is a wide-open tournament. I'm more concerned with picking winners per game. Like, you know, nobody gets a perfect bracket. So it is what it is. We've got a SportsRage bracket pool that we're running, and we're going to participate in. Maybe I'll enter one or something like that and try to win millions of dollars. But I usually don't do too very well in these NCAAs. Like, there's always massive upsets and surprises, but I've got some surprises and some upsets in my bracket, actually. But we got NBA basketball tonight, and nobody cares about the NBA right now, but that's the only basketball going on tonight. I took the Sacramento Kings on the money line to beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and we took the Toronto Raptors plus 9 points. Cam, all the hockey's already gotten going. There's only a couple of games left into the third period right now, but there's 5 late NBA games going on. What did you do with the late night NBA?
I'm on the same with you, Gabe. I took the Raptors. They're right now live plus 9.5. Tough loss in Portland there, but they're really grinding, and I don't trust the Phoenix Suns. I'm also taking the Washington Wizards plus 6. I know you're like, am I crazy? Yeah, they've won 2 games in a row and playing a little bit better against Portland. They're down 5 right now. Golden State, Gabe, it opened at 4.5 till we got the news about the injuries all the way up to 11 by game time, and currently the Warriors are laying 11.5 against the Nuggets. So I'm happy where I stand with my 4.5.
Yeah, there's a lot of games. You figure between the 5 games tonight in the NBA, that one of them would have been cool, but not really.
Yeah, they suck.
You know what I mean? San Antonio are depleted with injuries. Fox is out. Obviously, Wembanyama is out. LeBron is out. So the Spur Laker game's a train wreck. The Wizards and the Blazers, well, it just sort of speaks for itself as far as what kind of game that it is. Denver don't have anybody playing. The Raptors and the Suns is a train wreck of a basketball game. I guess you could argue Memphis and Sacramento is the game of the night, and that's all you really need to know. The LA Kings and the Minnesota Wild tied at 1 right now. I like the under. I didn't get it in on time at 5.5, and then I ended up playing the 4.5 after because it was 1-1. And I figured, you know what? I still think it'll get there. 1-1 with 7 minutes left right now in this game, Cam. The Kings are minus 125. The Wild are minus 105.
I like that, Gabe. Good call on the under. I was with the under in this game as well. Nice defensive battle right now. Hopefully we can get like a 2-1 type of final empty netter. We don't want to screw around with this game, but there's only 7 minutes left and we're tied at 1. I have Minnesota live plus 110, but I am also on the under. But I will take the Wild right now, minus 104 on my FanDuel account. If you like the Kings, they're laying 24 cents.
So there's been a lot of talk about North Carolina and, of course, the governor of West Virginia grandstanding today and wasting everybody's time, threatening lawsuits.
Yes.
And what I don't understand, too, is people are, like, surprised that the North Carolina AD is, like, on the committee and stuff. All these committees are athletic directors, right? Like, the Michigan athletic director, Kim, he's, like, the head of the playoff committee as well. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't, like, new. That, like, people are like, oh, my God, there's a conflict of interest. Like, has anyone ever paid attention to who these committees are run by? Like, right? So it's not like, oh, what a shock. Oh, yeah, there are athletic directors on the committee. Now, you know, they said that he didn't vote on North Carolina, and they say, well, like, if you're an athletic director of one of the teams that's being discussed, that you have to leave the room. Now, I don't really think that matters. I do think it helps that if you're on the committee, but it's an old boys club. You know, it is what it is. But if you're crying, when you're the 79th or 69th, 70th, 71st, 73rd best team in the country, you don't really have a big argument. right? It's too bad you didn't get in. I understand you're upset. You could argue that you deserve to be in more than some other teams, but you won 19 games. So, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But the committee as a whole, I think they did a horrible job. And I don't pretend to be Jerry Palm or Joe Lunardi, but there's a lot of weird inconsistencies here. Number one, what the hell do you play the conference tournaments for? They're pointless. I've always said this, and congratulations to my Michigan Wolverines for winning the Big Ten. Did anybody care? Michigan got a 5 seed for winning the Big Ten. They beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a 3 seed, right? How does that make sense? They beat Purdue. They split. They played 2 games with Purdue. Michigan. Purdue gets a higher seed to Michigan. Michigan wins the Big Ten, yet Michigan gets a 5 seed. And then Michigan, not only getting the 5 seed, ends up getting the hottest team in college basketball with UC San Diego in a 5-12 on the West Coast, no less. So you look at the Oregon Ducks. The Oregon Ducks are a 5 seed. The Oregon Ducks didn't do what Michigan did. The Oregon Ducks get a 5 seed as well, but the Oregon Ducks get to play in Seattle, Washington in their backyard. Michigan have to go to Denver and play in the altitude on a late night game on Thursday night in San Diego's wheelhouse as a West Coast team. And then they get Texas A&M or Yale after if they survive. Michigan got screwed hard. They weren't the only ones, though. We'll hit this on the other side.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. It's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
The Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's do this thing. The Monday Night Meltdown. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Looking forward to the start of the tournaments, the calm before the storm, although there's so many teams, bets, props. This thing's going to be here before we know it, and it starts tomorrow night with the play-in, and people can complain about North Carolina all they want. The betting market is smashing North Carolina. North Carolina is 7-1 for the record since they changed their lineup. They are a much better team. And I think that's what went into North Carolina. But just quickly with this, Michigan definitely got screwed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What's the point of playing these conference tournaments? Michigan won the Big Ten tournament. You got to get a 5 seed? Like, really? A 5 seed? You look at Gonzaga. Gonzaga are ranked like 9th in the Ken Palm rankings. Now, I personally think the Ken Palm stuff gets a little bit overblown. Ken Palm. But the fact of the matter is, all right, let's say they're not 9th, or let's say they're 13th or 14th or 15th or 20th or whatnot. People don't think Gonzaga are good, but the metrics tell you that they are. Yet they get an 8 seed. Louisville as well. Louisville had a great year. Louisville make it to the ACC Conference Championship game. They get an 8 seed. Like, the seeding is whacked. And there's a lot of good teams. Hell, the Houston Cougars, as good as they are, they have to play probably Gonzaga in the second game. And if you're Gonzaga, like, really, you set it up like so Gonzaga and Houston are going to play in the first weekend. This is going to be a ruthless tournament, man. It's not going to be easy to advance. All right, let's bring Joe Madden in right now. Joe, we've got one hockey game that's still up in the air right now, and the Minnesota Wild have just taken a 2-1 lead on the LA Kings with 4 minutes left in this game right now. In-game total is 4.5. What do you think about the last 4 minutes of this game, Joe? Who are you on in this game?
This is a crazy one. So I rolled in here with the Wild's team total under 2.5. So I can't have them score another goal. Thinking if the Wild won this, it was a 2-1 style win, or the LA Kings would win this and light up Gustafson tonight. Now, we haven't seen the Kings do that, but at plus 750 for the Kings to get that goal in the next 4 minutes, you guys, pretty tempted there. That would push us over that total of 3.5, but it's way too highly juiced. I did have a sprinkle on this one to go to overtime. That was at plus 340. So I'm going to sit tight with that, even though I'm really tempted to take the Kings right now, straight up plus 700 it is now.
The Minnesota Wild played against the Vancouver Canucks last week, and it was like legit one of the most boring games that I've ever seen in my life. The Wild are a boring-ass team. And the Canucks aren't very exciting either, to be honest with you. But the Wild are racking up points, Joe. And, they're on the verge of racking up another couple of points here. They are a playoff team. They've flown under the radar. They always fly under the radar because they never do anything in the playoffs, so people just sort of give up on them. And like I said, they don't have any star players. They're just sort of like, and they're a boring team. Like, they're sort of like an anonymous, boring team, so people don't pay attention to them, really.
Well, they don't, and it would be so much better.
It's true, Cam.
It is. I know who's their best player. Like, they got Kiprusoff and Boldy. And people are like, who's Boldy? Like, if you don't know hockey, you're like, what are you talking about?
They haven't had a star since Mike Modano.
Right? Hartman's been getting
That's
stuff
a long
done.
time
Wow.
ago.
You're really, wow. The Minnesota Wild Radio Network. Wow. Yeah, you're right. They are boring.
Yeah, I know. A little harsh. Yeah. Anonymous, faceless, boring. But I just said they're good, though.
I just had a couple good players.
They're annoying to play because they whatever. They just, they don't do much, but they're hard to score on, right? They skate hard and stuff. But I'm just saying, they're like an anonymous, boring team, but they're winning games.
Yeah, they absolutely have been. You look at them, they're sitting here 67 games played, 79 points. So they're sitting behind Colorado, Dallas, and Winnipeg in the Central, but they've played a game less than Colorado, right? And less than Winnipeg. So
they're building a wild card cushion, though, at least, right? They're building a little bit of a cushion. And I tell you, Joe, with your team total here, the Kings aren't doing any favors. The Kings have pulled the goalie with 2.5 minutes left.
No.
It's pretty quick to pull the goalie.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I hate to see that, right? Like, they could tie it up, 100% they could, but things are locked up, so I'm guessing they scored. I don't have the game on. I just finished the Toronto Calgary
End the game. End it now. 3-1. No more monkey business. End it. Just
they
end
didn't
it.
score. They haven't scored yet. There's still 2 minutes left. There's like 1:55 left in this game. The Wild are nursing a 2-1 lead on the Los Angeles Kings. None of us want any more goals here. I got a 4.5. If the Kings score, it kills me. A Wild goal kills Joe. So let's just end this thing 2-1, like Cam said. End the game.
Finish it up. Start fighting out there. Everyone get called off the ice. Finish the game. That's what I
had
want.
the Canucks last night plus 1.5 against Utah. Utah scored with like 4 seconds left, I think, in the empty netter.
Brady Kachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Kachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Kachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Monday Night Meltdown continues. This is Sports Rage. The Minnesota Wild scored the empty netter. It's 3-1 Minnesota right now. This game is about to come to an end here. There's a couple of seconds left, and the game is now over. 3-1 final score. Minnesota Wild beat the Los Angeles Kings tonight. Joe Madden in the house with us, the Rage Reddit, Cam Stewart. So that's it for the NHL right now. Joe, we got baseball coming up in the morning. Are you betting the Dodgers and the Cubs game?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just going to roll with the Dodgers. I'm just trying to work out how maybe the yes runs in the first inning there for the Dodgers. And I think we're going to get some value there. I've been going back and forth with that one to just work out how to bet it and how to get some profit. And that's always the struggle with the Dodgers, right? Each and every single game, we look at the Dodgers and trying to get some sort of value on those lines because the books have them as such heavy favorites. So I think I'll do the Yorfie in this one for the runs coming in that first inning and probably look at a Dodgers team total in the first 5 as well.
Cam, what are you going to do with this game? Should note there's no Mookie bets and for this game or tomorrow's game either. So that's not that doesn't help the Los Angeles Dodgers. There's been a line move, half a run came off the total. It was 8.5. I'm thinking, Joe, I want to play no run in the first inning. The problem is now that Mookie Betts isn't there, it softens the blow a little bit. But these pitchers are really, really good, right? So they're going to come out smoking here, I think. I kind of agree with the line move to the under, but you've got some really good hitters, right? And all it takes is one swing at a bat for somebody to put the ball over the wall. And even though Yamamoto's a stud and Imanaga's a stud, they're both vulnerable to giving up a home run. Like it could happen. I'm gonna dig in as far as the first run, the first inning run is concerned. I was thinking about the under, but I like the under in the game as a whole. What are you doing with the game, Cam?
Gabe, I'm taking the coward's way out and betting the Cubs both games to plus money. They split, I make money. That's basically how I'm attacking this game. I really like their pitcher in game 2, Steele. He's one of my guys. I think he's fantastic. First game, Dodgers are obviously a better team, but it's early in the season. Going to take a shot with the Cubs both games. They split, I make money. They go 2-0. I'll be very happy. Not sure. I lean under in the first game as well.
I would be surprised. They probably do split. San Diego and LA played last year in Korea. They ended up splitting as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you get a split. Let's not forget, too, Joe, the Cubs are the favorites to win the National League Central. They are a good team, right? So this isn't going to be easy for the Dodgers the first couple of games, especially missing Mookie Betts. No one's going to cry for the Dodgers, but it's too bad the Betts won't be playing. So NCAA tournament, Joe, the brackets are out. I don't know if you filled a bracket out yet, but what do you think about the tournament, and do you have any predictions for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I've started to fill out my bracket, and I've got through my first round, just working on that second round now, and where I'm seeing a couple of those mismatches. But I do think there's, in the first round, a couple of teams that you can look at to pull off the upset. I'm looking at, when we get further down into some of those interesting ones, I think New Mexico can beat Marquette. I think that will be an upset win there. I look at the West, and, I think Florida just comes out of the West. They probably got one of the hardest ways to get to the Final Four, because that West is going to be packed. They're going to have to face UConn at some point, and then I think Maryland, and then St. John's. It will be hard, but I do think they can get past. I do think Arkansas can beat Kansas. So I'm looking for that upset in the first round. That's a number 10 beating a number 7 as well. And then when we look at the other side of the bracket here, just let me pull up my bracket. So I've got in the East, of course, I got Duke coming out of the East. I'm going back and forth, though, if Duke can really get past Alabama. I love the style of play Alabama's coming with, but I do think Duke's defense should be able to lock them down. It's going to be a tight battle there. For the upsets, I think Akron is actually one of those teams that's really going to push Arizona. I think the Zips can put the points on the board, and it's going to be a really high-scoring game. They're back and forth battle between those two, but I do think Arizona walks out with the win. I'm going back and forth with Baylor and Mississippi State. I look at Baylor and I look at their ability to be able to get some of those threes on the board. There's been a lot of times this season that I've struggled with them betting them because they have cost me money against that spread. But I do think Baylor ends up getting the win versus Mississippi State. I just like what they bring to the table. And then for other upsets, BYU versus VCU, I think VCU walks away with it. So they're number 11 versus a number 6 there. Alabama, I think, beats Robert Morris. And then when we get down into the Midwest, where I'm looking for those upsets, High Point, I think, might beat Purdue. I look at Purdue, and I do think they're going to struggle versus High Point, because High Point really can get those points on the board. If Purdue's defense slips up just a little bit, I think this could be a 1-point game where High Point actually walks away with it. So number 13 versus a number 4 there. And Kentucky versus Troy, yeah, Kentucky's walking out of that one. So not too many upsets that I'm looking at, you guys, but I do think it's going to be really interesting to see who gets the Final Four. Ultimately, I'm kind of playing around right now with Michigan State and Florida and Duke and Kentucky for my Final Four.
I like what you're talking about with High Point, the 13-4 with Purdue. Number one, we've seen Purdue struggle at times early in the tournament before. We've seen them go on runs, but, we all know about Matt Painter's history. And it's one of those just weird matchups for a Big Ten team. Like, High Point are going to score. Like you said, they average 82 points a game. They're going to put points up on the board. Now, this is a big step up in class for them, but sometimes when you get these, more, bigger conference, more talented team, they think that it's going to be easy. They're like, all right, you know what? This team's going to want to run with us, and we're more talented than they are, so this is going to be easy. I saw Loyola Marymount kill Michigan years ago with the same sort of, Michigan were like, sure, if they want to run. All I'm saying is, if Purdue Purdue aren't shooting the ball well and stuff, and the shots are falling for High Point, the pressure's going to start to build for the Boilermakers, but the odds makers are onto it. Right? I mean, High Point's not getting that many points, but I think you're onto something there, Joe, with that being a potential upset with High Point and Purdue. I like High Point in that game. And with Alabama, I like this Alabama team a lot. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, they really could win the championship. Like, they could make it to the Final Four, this team, and cause problems for anybody. Because of the same thing I just said about High Point, except it's a different level. Alabama scored 91 points a game. Like, they're going to score, and they're going to play it like a fast-ass pace on you. And if you can't keep up, you're going to have some big problems. The only thing is, and I always talk about these formulas, guys, going back over the last 32 years, and we can go deeper, but whatever. I'm going to go back 100 years here, but the last 32 years, no team has won the national championship that gives up more than 73 points a game. And I was thinking about this with Alabama. I'm like, man, they meet a lot of metrics here to win the national championship, but how many points a game do they give up? They give up 81 points a game, guys. It's a lot of points.
That's too many
right?
points.
So, like,
Gabe.
yeah, like they don't play defense enough, right? Like, so when you get into a tournament like this, if their threes aren't falling, Cam, like, and they don't play defense, it's not a recipe to win 6 games in a row. Like, you got to come up with some stops. One thing with Bama, they've gotten better, though, with the 3-point defense. So I think they're better than the 81 points says, but numbers are numbers. No one in the last 30 years, 32 years, nobody's won, giving up more than 73 points a game, and Bama are giving up 81, but should be a fun tournament, Joe. I tell you that.
Yeah, it absolutely should be a great one. I'm excited, and I really can't wait to see which team is, that dark horse, that Cinderella team that just busts everyone's brackets out there. Do you guys have any predictions for a team that's going to go deep that no one is really thinking about? Because I don't.
I'm going to say, like, the team that you just said, Joe, with High Point, I'm going to call 2 upsets in a row here. I'm going to say McNeese State knocks off Clemson, and High Point knocks off Purdue, and then McNeese State play High Point. So one of them will make it to the Sweet 16.
That's amazing. What a...
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Countdown to the madness is on. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency, Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. All right, thanks to Joe Madden for joining us. Let's keep the tournament talk going right now. And we've got the first 4 on the board. The first 2 are up in less than 24 hours' time. And as I stated off the top of the program, going back to when they started this in 2011. Since they started the first 4 in 2011, 13 teams have gone on to win multiple games in the NCAA tournament after. It has been a launching pad for teams. And in fact, we've had a couple of Final Four appearances. VCU was in the first four. They made the Final Four. UCLA was in the first four in 2021. They made the Final Four. Looking at the list, there's only one of the sort of, the nobody schools that have actually pulled it off. Fairleigh Dickinson. They actually played in the it's always like a power school, a power conference. So in other words, is it going to be North Carolina? Is it going to be Texas? Is it going to be Xavier? Or potentially San Diego State that goes on that run? Let's bring in Kiev O'Neill right now. Kiev in the house. What's going on, my man? How you doing tonight?
Doing great, Cam. Gabe, I'll tell you, man, constant capping all day going on here. I don't think I've taken much more than a half-hour break, but I'm back and forth. I'm just getting into Friday right now. I'm done with Thursday. Now that the smaller conferences are out, I got to jump into that a little bit more tonight. I've been avoiding that, but it's a busy week, but I love it, man. March Madness is my favorite time of year.
Yeah, my head is spinning too. I literally have like 18 pages open right now on my computer of all NCAA stuff, like just one, this, and that. And, it can almost be a little bit overwhelming. But let me ask you, you're a Badger fan, so what do you think about Wisconsin and Montana? To me, I look at this number, and Wisconsin coming off the loss, obviously, to the Michigan Wolverines, and they're up early here on Thursday. That's why I think that's ridiculous. Like I said, like the committee, number one, I thought Michigan got screwed, but Wisconsin plays in the championship game, and you have them playing in one of the early games, right? Like, there's no thought at all about this. I think it's dumb, but I also think this point spread is pretty high, Kiev. What do you think about 17 points against the Montana Grizzlies?
I wouldn't lay it. I mean, what a massive choke, going 22% from the field. I mean, teams shoot better than that from three against Michigan. Such a weird game. Both teams didn't want that, Gabe. Like both teams were trying to lose it. If Michigan and Wisconsin played any of these teams, even the 16 seeds would have beat them that day, man. It was pathetic. It was embarrassing. And even as a Michigan fan, you got to be like kind of like smiling a little bit, a little scratching your head, like that's great. UC San Diego next. That's going to be fun. It's a terrible position they're in. 4 games in 4 days now going to elevation. But does the fact that they're, work so hard, does that help them going into elevation? Because maybe they're in a little better shape now. I don't know. I've seen that theory about going into elevation where teams that are on lower elevation kind of broken before. It is BYU's the scary thing there because they're close to home. There's a ton of BYU transplants that live in Denver, right? So I think, that's going to be the real challenge for the Badgers. The Badgers are a team that the wave on them goes all the way into the 200s and all the way up to maybe the top 3 team. They could beat anybody almost, but they can lose to anybody. I can't tell you if they're going to choke again, but they have not covered like the large spreads in the non-con so much. So I would lean the other way, but at the same time, your Tanji, your Blackwell, your Klesmit, you're looking at the way you shot that last game. It's got to be burned in your mind all week. I mean, I would think that they get their heads out of their you-know-whats and score some points this game.
It's a good point. Michigan did catch a break that Tanji had the worst game of his life, basically, on Sunday. I would almost expect him to bounce back, but like you said, it's just so many points. And I respect Montana. They've got a pedigree. They've got players that have played in big games. That's a lot of points to be laying unless you're like a sheer powerhouse and you really are playing an inferior opponent. And I'm not sure Montana are that inferior. But as far as Michigan getting UC San Diego, obviously a trendy team. They've won 15 in a row. They're the number 1 team against the country as far as the point spread is concerned. And let's give them credit. They smashed Irvine on Saturday night. That was very impressive. But they really haven't played. They didn't play a tough non-conference schedule, right? They played San Diego State, and they lost. They got the New Zealand kid that's been around forever that scores like 19 points a game. And one thing with UC San Diego, guys, they feast off of turnovers. They're good at creating turnovers. And what is Michigan's weakness? They turn the ball over, right? So stylistically, they almost set it up for like a competitive game. But I should note, for people tuning in, UC San Diego don't have anybody taller than 6'7", Kiev. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Michigan have 2 7-footers on the floor. UC San Diego are so trendy. The point spread's come down to 2.5 right now. What do you think about that game?
Way too trendy for me. But here's the thing, Dave. I knew this was going to be trendy 2 weeks ago. I've been talking about it. I'm like, people are like, oh, I'm going to pick UC San Diego. I'm like, get in line, buddy. Everybody. I mean, I've watched this thing go from 4 down to 2.5 in a split second on Monday, dude, and that is not a side I want to be on. The truth is that the Twin Towers down there, Area 51, is too big for this team. And now UC San Diego is going to a court in Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, where they're not used to it, So you think those threes are going to fall? I can't guarantee that. I think if you were
we'll reconnect with Kiev on the other side. We're coming up against the break anyways. Like you said, get in line with people that thought they were going to be hipsters on UC San Diego. I don't know why they gave Michigan this matchup, but it is what it is. What I'm actually pleased about, though, we're going to be on Thursday night, and the Michigan game actually starts basically at 10 o'clock on Thursday night. Although 10 o'clock in a tournament means like 10:40 in reality.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency, and Kiev was just talking about even he agrees Michigan should have been a little bit of a higher seed, and it put UC San Diego in a weird spot. I don't want to cry about the seeds all night, Kiev, but it has ramifications to it. Like, you can't tell me Gonzaga should be an 8 seed, right? They deserve better than an 8 seed. They're going to have to play if they get past Georgia, they'll have to play the Houston Cougars. You're not doing Houston any favors by making them a 1 and giving them Gonzaga in the second game. Louisville made it to their conference championship. Like, The conference tournaments don't really mean anything, and I think they just prove that right there. But nevertheless, you've started clicking away. What are some of the games you've already bet on, Kiev?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Gonzaga is a good team. I don't think they're as good as they were before, but they are a little bit underseeded. But I also think Georgia's a little underseeded too. I think Georgia's battle tested. The 6.5 is too much. I think Gonzaga should be favored by about 3.5 and not 6.5 against Georgia. So I took Georgia at plus 6.5. That you brought that game up. I would be surprised, obviously, Gonzaga wins. I mean, I'm not betting Georgia to win. I'm betting them to cover. But this is these SEC teams they're kind of battle tested, and yeah, the seeding's all over the place. I don't understand why Louisville's an 8 seed over there, gets to play at home against Auburn. That's kind of weird. Why is Memphis a 5 seed? You know, Memphis is the dog against Colorado State as the 5 seed. Colorado State's the 12 seed and the favorite here. That's absolutely ridiculous. So all over the place. I think that Oklahoma plus 4.5 is a decent look too. I don't know why UConn's getting all this love. I guess it's the jersey and the coach, but if you look at any metric site that's reputable, UConn's only favored by 1 point there. Why is it 4.5? Just because of their name. Well, Oklahoma went through kind of a gauntlet to make it in, and if you look at the last 5 or 6 games against top SEC teams, Oklahoma's either won or covered by a lot. It only lost by maybe a couple points to some of these. So Oklahoma's live there. I laid it with Tennessee. Tennessee is going to be playing a very easy team in Wofford. And, it's funny. You look at some of these matchups, Tennessee not winning their conference championship game. They're aching to get back on the court because of it. They're a team that blew everybody in the way in the non-conference, beating like Tennessee Martin by 50, beating Syracuse by 26. They stomp on teams. They rip the hearts out of them. Of course, when they step up in competition, then obviously Rick Barnes kind of sticks out as a bad coach. But Tennessee should take care of Wofford. And by the way, when Wofford stepped up in competition against Duke, they lost by 51 points. So I like laying 18.5 with Tennessee, believe it or not. Also, if you're looking at first half under, I think that the early games, these players not so used to waking up early all the time. Creighton, Louisville, first half under 68.5. I think it's down to 67.5, but I still like it. Creighton starts slow, and if you notice the last few games, they started slow. And same with Louisville. There's going to be some nerves there. I know the game's at Rupp Arena, very close to Louisville, just right there in Lexington. But first half under at Creighton/Louisville. Why not High Point, man? Purdue's fake news. High Point is going to come in there and light up the threes. And you got to have to understand, last year was the fluke year for Purdue and Matt Painter, because I think they go right
with
back.
The fluke. And then they had Zach Edey too. I think it was more Zach Edey than anything,
Yeah, exactly. But, I'm going to go right back to fading Purdue in the tournament immediately with High Point right here, because High Point is a complete team. They got some height. They can rebound the ball, and great shooting, effective field goal, 12th in the nation, 56.4%. They're very balanced. They're on a tear themselves. And, High Point beat North Texas, a top team, a top quadrant 1-ish team, 72 on Ken Pom. I like High Point. I think they're going to come in and shock a team that has just been leaking oil in Purdue.
I think when you're looking at one of these upset teams or sort of Cinderella teams, I think it helps. Drake are the extreme where Drake slow it down so much that they could be a problem to deal with. But, like the Oral Roberts of the world, like I go back to Loyola Marymount, but teams that could put points up on the board can beat you, right? If you start trading threes with a team and the other team's hitting them and you're not used to playing at this fast pace that some teams want to run at, then it can catch up to you. Kiev, where can people find you online this week with all your tourney breakdown?
At the Odds Breakers, we got tournament challenges galore. We even have a survivor where if everyone goes out, it revives the people that went out until we get a winner. So I love that format of survivor. We do that over at Splash Sports. We also have a free $500 one at the Odds Breakers giving out money.
Awesome stuff, Kiev. Enjoy the tournament.
Brady Kachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Kachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Kachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Level 2 has begun. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Let's do this thing. Countdown to tip-off for the tournament continues. Great stuff with Joe Madden and Kiev O'Neill. George Kurtz will join us in the next segment, and there won't be any college basketball talk with Kurtz. Although Kurtz should jump on his St. John's bandwagon. We'll hit baseball and hockey with Kurtz. We'll go over some baseball props, add more baseball futures. The baseball season set to begin. If you want to get your Cubs and or Dodgers player props in, season props, yeah, they'll be up on the board, but the numbers will change after tonight as well. But as far as the tournament is concerned, Drake is an interesting team. We were talking about some of these sleepers. Kiev was just talking about High Point. I was talking about High Point earlier. Drake comes in here, and this team is interesting. They're basically like a Division II team, Drake, this year. They have a new coach. He's from Northwest Missouri State. They won 4 national championships, and he basically brought over, like, the team. So they're a bunch of D2 dudes, but they've won before, right? So they've got experience, and I always like teams like that. In the NBA All-Star Weekend, the G League team, I knew they were going to play hard. And, there's the same thing, Cam, in the basketball tournament, the TBT in the summertime, if they play for the $1 million, there's always the D2 team, and they're always really good. They always knock off like a bunch of these like flashier university type of teams. They're fundamental. They play the game the right way. I don't think Drake will be overwhelmed by the moment either. They played in national championship games before. It's sort of like a lot like Indiana football, actually. Indiana football this year was basically all of James Madison's football team. James Madison got good. The coach left, and he brought like 14 starters with him. And then he plugged them in with the rest of Indiana's players, and suddenly Indiana were really good. But to me, I don't know about the matchup for them against Missouri. If Missouri is patient, they're going to wear Drake down on the boards. They're going to be too physical and athletic for them. But 6.5 is tempting. I could see Drake losing this game, but hanging with Missouri. It's more on Missouri. Like, Drake are going to be Drake. They're going to keep you they're going to try to keep this thing in the 50s. They're going to milk down the shot clock to the final 5 seconds, and then their guard takes it to the rack at the end. They're going to do what they're going to do. The game is going to be decided as to whether Missouri get frustrated by Drake's slow pace or Missouri stay patient. Because if they stay patient, Cam, they'll overwhelm Drake. But if they start getting frustrated by Drake's defense and the pace and Missouri start taking lazy shots, they'll play into Drake's hands. But I wanted to like Drake. It's sort of like UC San Diego. I had my eye on a couple of these sleeper teams coming in before the tournament, but it was all about who are they going to get? What's their draw? This isn't a great draw for Drake. Missouri are a very athletic team.
They are. One thing I can say about Drake, though, to your point, Gabe, they're a 30-win team and 9-1 on the road, too. So they're not afraid to play, away from home. Missouri, on the other hand, was a great home team, and their home road splits aren't that impressive. You're right. Total contrast in styles. Missouri wants to run up and down. Drake wants to turn this into a rock fight. I like Drake. I have a feeling they're going to be a trendy pick, though, but I like the 6.5. I think they can win this game outright, to your point, if they play defense and frustrate the Tigers. So I will be taking Drake. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a very popular dog.
Missouri are like a lot of teams. There's a couple of players, impact players coming into this tournament that we don't really know their status. And the Tigers didn't have Mark Mitchell in their lineup in the SEC Conference Tournament. I think they were sort of saving him for this tournament. Obviously, he's their leading scorer. He scores 14 points a game. Like they're going to need him here, so that's something to keep your eye on. But from what I understand, he's expected to play in this basketball game. So looking at some of these futures, and I tweeted about this earlier, and I brought it up off the top of the program, about how one seeds always win the tournament, but it's amazing to me that it's only happened once that all the one seeds have actually made the Final Four in the same year, and they have the numbers up here. So where is it? Team to make the Final Four, name the finalists. I got to get this the seed market up. Stage number one seeds to make round. All right. Cam, all four number one seeds to make the Final Four is 17-1, plus 1,700. You get Auburn, Duke. You got to get Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston to the Final Four. You get plus 1,700.
I don't know how many one seeds are going to get there, Gabe. Maybe 2 or 3, but I can't see 4. There's no way.
Which is the one do you think gets knocked off?
Houston or Florida. I think Duke goes deep. They're a very dangerous basketball team. Florida's fantastic. They won the SEC tournament. We were on them. Good on us for picking them prior to win that SEC tournament. They've been fantastic, but we also know the SEC is just loaded with killers. It's going to be a tough ride. So I like Duke to go very, very far. So I would say Houston or Florida, but 17-1. Do you think all 4 are going to go? Which team do you have get knocked out then? I'm thinking 2 out of the 4 make it.
And I think that Auburn are the most vulnerable. Even though Auburn were given, this is another thing that the conference tournaments are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Auburn has lost 3 of their last 4 games. So, do these games count or not? Why were Auburn the overall number one seed? And because they got the overall number one seed, they have a more favorable bracket, as I talked about. Auburn's going to be favored, pretty significantly against everybody. Yet I don't trust them, Cam. That's the one team there's something about them that I don't trust. They don't really have flaws either, but I could see them going cold offensively. I could see them getting into foul trouble. I don't know. I just sort of see something bad happening to Auburn. And it's something to keep your eye on, guys, with these SEC teams. Not so much in the first round, but actually in the first round too. Texas are a good example. Xavier are one of the best teams in the country at getting to the free throw line. And Xavier are one of the better free throw shooting teams in the country. Texas are one of the worst teams at giving up fouls. And if you look, anyone who watched the SEC conference tournament saw these freaking teams were in the bonus with 13 minutes left in the halves. It's a foul fest in the SEC. These guys play football on basketball, on a court. And we'll see how the referees judge, ref this stuff. But these SEC teams could find themselves in some foul trouble, and it could cause them problems. It's one of the reasons why I like the Xavier-Texas game to go over. But looking at Auburn will get the winner of Louisville and Creighton. I think they'll survive, Cam, but it wouldn't be easy for them. I think it'll be a battle, that game. you got Texas A&M. Texas A&M already beat them this year,
Yep.
right? Or they could get potentially Michigan. All right, so like I got Michigan beating UC San Diego, and then you could argue Texas A&M and Yale who wins. Then you could debate who goes on after that. But I've got Michigan surviving the first weekend here. It won't be easy, but I think that Michigan survive. And then I got Auburn playing Michigan. And even though I'm a Michigan fan, Cam, I've got Auburn in my bracket here as much as it pains me right now. But Michigan can play with Auburn, right? I mean, I'll take Michigan plus the points. To me, Auburn are kind of vulnerable, except they don't have that tough of a path. They could play Michigan. They would play potentially Michigan State to get to the Final Four.
That's tough.
Or maybe Iowa State to get to the Final Four. That's not that hard, Cam.
Yeah, no, you're right. I believe like Michigan State is a very, very feisty team, but Auburn much better than them, and that's the whole thing with Iowa State as well. They're a team that they can play defense, but Auburn should be able to outscore them. But you talked about
they'll
it.
be favored in every one of these games.
Big time, huge favorite. Yes,
Duke are like really, really good, but to me, they're the ones. It's like, wow, they got to go through a lot of good teams to get there. They weren't done any favors either.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Level 2 continues. If you were with us a couple of minutes ago, about 20, I don't know, whatever, I brought it up as far as there's a bunch of formulas. I saw Gil Alexander talking about a formula today. It's picked 30 of the last 32 national champions, and the exception is UConn in the 2 years. And it's not the same one that we've used with Mark Lawrence over the years. His had more Ken Palm stuff in it. But it's the same. It comes to the same, like, you know what I mean? You could put a couple of different ways of cooking it, but in the end, it's all the same. Like the Florida Gators are a good example. The Gators are awesome, and the Gators are actually like one of the most popular teams along with Duke. Like everybody thinks Florida's going to win now, yet their coach is the liability here. Like in the last, only 30 the last 32 times a champion, the coach you have to have coached in a Sweet 16 at least before, right? And it's better if you were in Elite Eight and a Final Four and all this, and Golden never has been. So can they overcome that? But they're so damn good. Like I said, Alabama, their flaw, why they don't meet the criteria is they give up 81 points a game. You got to give up 73 or less. So there's a couple of teams that meet the criteria, and it's Duke. If you know, basically we'll break it down in its entirety later in the week, tomorrow, Wednesday, etc. But the teams that literally could win according to the formula, Duke, Houston. Duke and Houston, like they're the ones that meet they check every box, basically. And Iowa State's metrics actually meet them, but Iowa State's not winning anything. And Iowa State's got injuries as well. All right, so let's bring in George Kurtz right now. His St. John's are getting ready to go on a deep run. George, you should start putting, you don't have any St. John's merchandise at all? You went there, you have a hat, a shirt, something? You got anything?
I believe I have a, one of those leather jackets, with the leather arms and the belt.
It's probably worth big money. Old school, you got an old school leather Letterman jacket.
First with the Letterman coat. Go St. John's.
Yeah, that was the first thing I bought when I went to St. John's there. I did have an old shirt that said St. John's, but the lettering wore off for years. It's just a gray shirt now. You would never know it was once St. John's.
So since you've gone there, you've never purchased anything. Once again, doesn't sound like you're very happy with your experience.
Well, back then I may not have had a lot of money. All right, so it was a little harder to purchase anything. I was having to pay for school.
You're like, you don't got to say John's hat or something.
Remember his line? He said when parking was free, he goes, "Oh, I just went home. I couldn't afford parking when the lot was
That
full."
is so true, man. If I had economics class at 8 a.m. and you go there to Jamaica, Queen, you can't find a spot. There was more than a few times where I screw.
Oh, you go home.
Go home, go back to bed.
I got to be honest. I never saw any St. John's merch for sale anywhere, George, either, like in Manhattan or anything like that. Like they're not that popular. Like people think like, oh yeah, in New York they're big or something. They're not. Like they're not. Like even George's like, no, they're not.
It's like being an Islander fan. It's sort of area, in Queens, Jamaica, maybe parts of Long Island, but it's not massively all over New York or in the city. No.
George Kurtz in the house. So how'd you do in the NHL tonight, Kurtz?
I did well. All right. The chalk came in tonight, so I did well.
Captain Chalk.
It was a chalky night.
The Leafs rolled all these.
The Leafs right tonight. Always on St. Patrick's Day.
Well, the Devils, they won. They went under. Got the under in the LA game. I mean, everything really came in tonight very well. Today was a good day. I'd rather be on a Tuesday or a Thursday where we have a whole truckload of games than a 5-game night, but I'll take it and run.
LA Kings fall short of Minnesota tonight, and I brought it up earlier. Said, listen, Minnesota, George, they're a very boring team, but they're not easy to play, right? Like, they're not easy to score on. They just sort of suffocate you, and they're racking up points. They're kind of like nobody talks about them, but they're in the playoffs right now, and they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're probably going to be that first wild card. All right, so that means they're going to face I guess the winner of maybe Vegas, maybe Edmonton, whoever wins that division. That's who they'll play. All right, because the second wild card is going to play Winnipeg more than likely. So they should have Kaprizov back by then as well, although his timeline keeps getting moved back. So they need him to get back to really make any kind of a run here. But, when you say that, I mean, Vegas and Edmonton, whoever ends up playing them, well, would you rather have played Minnesota or Colorado, who was in that spot for a long time until they finally picked it up, and now they'll probably play Dallas in the first round. So I think you'll take Minnesota.
That's what I'm saying. Minnesota they'll make the playoffs, but they really don't have a hope in hell once they get there.
They don't. No. If you have Minnesota Wild future,
they're going to get eliminated
right now. Exactly. That's what they do. They're the Wild. They get in, they lose. You said it. That game's the best. George starts showing us who's the stars on this team. They're going nowhere. It's like they're boring, and it's true. Everything is true. They're a very boring hockey team, but effective. They win.
No, I said somebody sent me a tweet, and they said I watched the Canucks and Wild play, and they said it was the most boring game ever. They went to the game, and I watched it too, and it was. Same with Utah last night and Vancouver. Vancouver can't score, and I tell you one thing with Utah, they're not easy to deal with. They play like this, like they really play a trap. Like they literally had 4 guys at center ice all the time. And they encourage you to dump the puck in from center ice, and then you can't get it. They actually have like a nice little system that they're playing. I think they're going to fall short when it comes to the playoffs.
If Utah makes it, I think Utah actually is a little more dangerous than Minnesota. The way they're playing now, if they find a way to get in, they're a hot hockey team.
I don't think they're going to get in.
Probably not.
They're there though. I mean, they're not. Dude, they're only 2 points out. I mean, they're right. They're right there. The Minnesota Wild are like pulling away. Like the Wild have 81 points, so they're feeling pretty good about themselves right now. The Vancouver Canucks do not feel good about themselves, but they do have that. They're holding on for dear life at 73 right now. But the Canucks have a big 6-game East Coast road trip coming up. Actually, they are a good road team, but we'll see if they're able to absorb this. And if they do, I think they'll make the playoffs. If they don't, they're not. The Blues are right there right now. The Flames, I think, are going to start to fade as we expected. They got 71. Utah's got 71. What do you think, George? You got Vancouver, St. Louis, Calgary, Utah. Who do you think are who do you think is the one team that gets the last spot?
I don't think it matters, mind you, but I'm going to go with the Blues. Give me the Blues here. They're playing well here. They got some talent. I'll get the Blues, but like I said, none of these teams is going to be any kind of a big threat.
I don't think Minnesota is, but I'll disagree. Winnipeg could choke. Winnipeg could lose to the Blues or the Canucks. Bennington could get hot. Vancouver could get streaky.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whoever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. You're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Level 2 continues. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. An update of what's going on the hardwood right now. Of course, Denver didn't have anybody. They were getting 11.5 points. They're winning by 12. 62-50 over the Golden State Warriors. Warriors, it's a pick 'em right now. It's at the half. Warriors are minus 110 on the money line to come back. Down by 12. Total 227.5. We're on Sacramento. They're up 66-57 on Memphis. In-game total, 239. Memphis are plus 425 on the money line. The Raptors are getting lit up by Phoenix right now. We're hoping for some sort of run by the Raptors, but they're down by 19, 65-46. They're getting 20.5 in-game total, 211.5. The Blazers are up a 10 spot on the Wizards. Now it's 13. 64-51 on Washington. The second half just started. And you know what? That total actually catches my eye. It's 221.5. I think that one can get there. And the Lakers are up 51-41 on the San Antonio Spurs. All right, George Kurt's in the house with us. Let's get into some baseball. We can get back to hockey, but let's get into some baseball. We got a best of X here. Found this to be interesting. I don't care about, like, Twitter polls and fan polls and what people think about people, but this is a Major League Baseball players poll. Tommy, we can get the best of X rolling here. Best of X? There we go. Better late than never. All right, so this is a players poll. This is on MLB.com. They had it in its entirety. So this is actually players of Major League Baseball. Who is the best player of Major League Baseball? Number 1, Shohei Ohtani. Number 2 is who surprised me. Bobby Witt Jr. gets a lot of love. Aaron Judge, number 3. Mookie Betts, number 4. Corey Seager, number 5, according to Major League Baseball players. George, I'll throw it to you first. I was surprised that Bobby Witt Jr. was voted the second best player in the game. A lot of love there for Bobby Witt. What do you think of the list?
I mean, I don't massively disagree. I wouldn't have Corey Seager in there. He's always hurt. Great when he's healthy there. I mean, this looks like to me to be the best hitters in the game, right? Because is Ohtani the best player in the game? He's the best hitter in the game. But until he pitches again, he's not the best player in the game. You know,
well, there's no pitchers that made the list here, as we saw.
They always get pitches. And by the way, I don't know if I disagree with that. By the way, you only pitch once every 5 days, so I don't know if you can be the best player in the game if you only pitch once every 5 days. Once Ohtani pitches again, he's the best player. But until then, I think it probably is Bobby Witt. Actually, he may not be quite the power hitter of Ohtani and Judge here, but he's a shortstop, great defender here. He can steal bases as well. Maybe not to the level that Ohtani was. Like I said, I'm nitpicking here. All right, purely Ohtani. The only reason I don't vote Ohtani because he's not pitching yet. Once May comes or June, he's the starting pitcher again. Then it's him easily. It's not even really all that close. Witt gets it over Judge because he's an infielder, a shortstop. Although Judge is regardless of what the drop ball in Game 5, he's a very good defensive outfielder. But he's not the defensive player that Bobby Witt is.
Who would you replace Seager with 5? A guy that's right there that has a lot of respect, but he hasn't been awesome in Philadelphia. Trey Turner. I know, like, he's right there, but like you said, you got him and Seager. Seager's hurt often, but Seager's one of those sort of 5-tool guys as well.
My only issue with Seager is he's just hurt all the time. I mean, he only played half the season last year. He's hurt a lot here. Trey Turner might be on his way down here, but as far as athleticism, he's fantastic as well. But you're right. Who would you put? I mean, would you put Ramirez in there? I mean, Jose Ramirez, he's not going to get
Machado?
any love. But I think,
what about Machado?
No, he's not top 5. I would put Ramirez definitely.
Freddie
Ramirez is a base stealer. Freeman,
Why not?
I can certainly give some love to him. I think Jose Ramirez would be my choice. I think we
no
don't give
love
him
for Fernando Tatis.
Tatis is
He should be on he should have been on this list, but he's not.
You know what I'm saying? Tatis Jr. because of issues, right? Like,
yeah.
But as far as talent, as far as talent, like you can make that argument. What else? Like the poll, I thought it was interesting. All right, most underrated player, best pitcher, most surprising team. So they actually did talk about pitchers. All right, this was an interesting one. Major League Baseball players were asked which player would be good in another professional sport. Mookie Betts was the winner.
What
like
sport?
Mookie Betts bowls perfect games, and Mookie Betts dunks basketballs. Like people are like, an NL reliever said, I feel like Mookie's good at everything. I've seen him bowling. I've seen him in the gym shooting basketballs. I've seen him play golf. He's an elite golfer. He can play whatever sport he wants.
Brady Kachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Kachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Kachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not beating the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. We're just talking about the Major League Baseball Player Survey results. This is an interesting one, and I agree with it, actually. Who's going to be the most surprising team this year? Major League Baseball players responded. The Athletics. The Athletics were the clear favorite on this question. By their peers, believe they definitely have the ingredients to buck expectations. Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler. They got a really good group of young guys, and they all seem to really enjoy each other, a Major League Baseball player says. Another player says they also have guys who are fighting for good deals or rookies trying to prove themselves. That's a good mix to have. It is. Guys playing for money. Exactly. Player who should host a talk show or podcast after he retires. Mookie Betts. Seems like players love Mookie Betts. Most underrated player in baseball. George, you named him. They're saying Jose Ramirez.
Oh, good call.
That's who the player says the most underrated. Well, you're talking about like the top five. You said, all right, who we're going to take off. But they got Jose Ramirez, the most underrated player in the game.
Yeah, he's on Cleveland. He doesn't look great, right? He's not built like, like he's in the gym all the time, but he's a great ball player. If he's on the Yankees or the Dodgers or, a more public team, everybody would be talking about him. He's probably a future Hall of Famer.
Listen, man, Mookie Betts is just the star of baseball. Who's the player?
Austin. Good job.
Who's the player that you would most like to have as a teammate? Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani. One NL outfielder says Mookie Betts is like the freaking mayor of Major League Baseball. Another AL first baseman said, I love to play with Ohtani just to see his daily routine and to be around him every day. Best defensive player in baseball. Andres Jimenez, who's now on the Blue Jays, and for Francisco Lindor tie. They got a tie there. Best pitcher in baseball. Ooh, interesting.
Was one traded for the other two?
Who do you think they said? Cam, what do you think? Or George, you guys want to guess? Best pitcher in baseball, according to Major League Baseball players.
Skubal.
Good call. I'll go Skubal, too.
Yeah, that's who they said. I'm surprised, but I guess a lot of the pitchers are old now. Hard not to go with Skubal after he was the best pitcher in the game last year. He's awesome, says an AL first baseman. Best player in the game was Ohtani. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Ohtani was the best. But let me see if they have, they don't have, a top 10. They just sort of did, let's see the top 5.
They don't have overrated either because people would get angry. probably.
Yeah,
right?
well,
What the hell are you
too bad.
doing?
That's what you want to hear.
Exactly. It's like, what? This survey sucks.
Well, then players wouldn't want to answer the polls then suddenly.
Yeah.
If it creates I'm surprised they didn't, though. Like, you know what I mean? You know why they didn't? Because it was MLB.com that did this.
Oh, so
like if it was SI.
Sport.
Yeah, exactly. Like they don't want negativity, right? So, like if it was someone else that did it, but you wouldn't get the same answers. But I'm surprised.
Who's the most overrated?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see.
I got a name in my head.
Is it the guy on the Blue Jays that wants all the money?
No.
Yeah.
This guy already got the money.
That's
All
funny.
right, this guy already got the bag.
He already got the bag. Most overrated already got the bag.
And we have not mentioned him, so it's not Machado.
Most overrated already got the bag.
Just the name, the first thing that came to my head.
Not one of your guys. It can't be Stanton.
No.
Who is it?
He is.
Who is it? Who?
I got Bryce Harper comes to mind.
Harper.
Oh, Harper.
Yeah.
Harper
comes to mind.
Overrated player in baseball? Oh,
Guy's making a
He's most overrated.
money. It doesn't put up the big numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, he puts up good, but not the huge big numbers for the money he's making here.
You could argue Jacob deGrom by that measure, right?
Sure. Well, that was a stupid contract. As soon as Texas signed it, we were all railing against that, making fun of it. We knew that was
thing
terrible.
with Bryce Harper.
Chris
I sort of get. He crossed my mind. Like Harper, not overrated, but like he makes a lot of money for what he does, right?
He needs to do more.
Yeah, it's fair.
But the thing is, he's been around a long time, so I sort of view him as a guy. I don't judge him for it, right? Like
I like Harper. I'd want him on the Yankees in a heartbeat. He just makes a lot of money for what he does.
Overrated's an interesting question. There's underachievers.
Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa is
Correa,
more overrated than Harper by immensely. People love Correa. This guy's blah, and he's always hurt too.
You're right. He is overrated. That's a good call there. George Kurtz in the house with us. Yeah, that was the Major League Baseball players survey. I wish they had more. It was even more in depth, but it was pretty cool. I'm glad to see this stuff. So Mookie Betts isn't going to be playing in these first two games for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Thanks, Mookie.
Not ideal. What's that, Kurtz?
I drafted him my first round of my fantasy baseball team, the league I really care about. So I'm a little salty when I heard this news last night. All right, a little salty. And it's a weekly league, and I can't even bench him, so I got to eat 2 games of zeros. Thanks.
I don't even know if he's going to be ready for next Thursday, to be honest. I'm hearing he lost 15 pounds.
Don't talk to me about this, all right? He's going to be ready. He's got 8 days, or 9 days. You drink up.
Yeah, get him on some Wheaties.
Pedialyte. Go.
Well, did he eat some bad sushi there? What happened?
Yeah, what's going on here? Yeah.
15 pounds for a guy. And it's not like he's Aaron Judge who weighs 270. What does he weigh? 170? So 15 pounds is a lot for that guy.
It's got to be quite a bad illness. So what kind of illness? We're not playing the season thing. The only illness said on the team is considering.
They said illness. They didn't say what.
All right, they're considering. They should just send him home early. Time to give him time to build strength. Robert said Betts has lost close to 15 pounds. Betts' illness is not to believe contagious, and it was what kept him out of the Dodgers exhibition games over the weekend as well. You know what? It wasn't. So I'm seeing here, it wasn't something that happened in Japan. And basically, he wasn't feeling well when they went to Japan, and it just got worse when he got there. Had the team known the illness,
sweating, a lot of water weight, and he'll get it back pretty easily.
So he's not feeling well. Then he does a long flight to Japan. Didn't help. Gets there. You know what I mean? And just sort of the jet lag hit him. He got worse. But like I said, he wasn't feeling well. The team said if they would have known, they wouldn't have actually brought him on the trip in the first place. But it wasn't that bad. He participated in light workouts when he first got there. But he was visibly fatigued. They say that he is feeling better now. So he's past, he is feeling better right now, but he's lost some weight. And let's see, I want to see if they're talking about next week with the Cubs starting of the 2-game series. Unknown whether he's going to be ready for next Thursday, George. So you're poor. It's all about you, Kurtz? Your fantasy team.
It's always about me, right? That
It
damn right it's about me. You know what's even? I only have one backup offensive player, and he's not going to play. The other guy's hurt too, so I'm sort of doubly screwed here. So Mookie, let's go. Come on, some Theraflu, Pedialyte, whatever you got to do. Drink some water, some Gatorade, Powerade, whatever. You'll be fine. 9 days. You're okay, buddy.
Miguel Rojas will play shortstop in both these games, and Tommy Edman will bat in Mookie Betts' spot in the 2-hole. So there's the Dodgers lineup now for tonight. What are you doing with the game, Kurtz? As the total fell to 8 right now in this game. It was 8.5. With the Betts news, it's gone to 8 right now. There was only a 10-cent move. It was 165. Now it's 155.
I got 7.5, by the way, but I took 8. I took under 8.5 last week when we talked. So yeah, I'm down to 7.5. It went down a whole run here, minus 122. If I was betting this, 7.5 really changes my mind a little bit. I'm probably still taking the under at 7.5, but it'd be a much lighter bet. I like the obviously I like the 8.5 a whole hell of a lot better. I don't know why it fell a run. I guess a lot of people were betting the under, and then Mookie Betts out, both pushed it under. I think the Dodgers win the game too. You know, I don't love it enough to put it in a parlay, so I'm just going to bet the under. I have some props as far as total bases. Ohtani puts on a show, right? Not a home run, but he's going to get 2+ bases in the game as well. So give me the Dodgers, the under, and Ohtani. And I'll have a few hours before 6 a.m.
It's unfortunate, though. Ohtani is the one. He's the one player that we get no value with betting on the home run props. Everybody else is pretty good value, actually.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whoever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency, the pitch, the players, the hustlers, the people to bust them, and everybody else in between. All right, Kurt, so what are some of the props you're playing in this Cubs game? And we'll get Cam's picks for this game. What are you playing, Kurtz?
Yeah, I'm going to go Max Muncy, plus 370 to hit a home run. All right. I already said I'm going Ohtani to get 2+ bases here. Probably not going to play the home run prop with him. As you mentioned, not a great value there with Ohtani. Funny, I would have played Mookie Betts to get 2+ bases as well. Freeman, we feeling a home run or 2 bases here?
Two bases.
Two bases.
All right, so we'll play
Freeman is a two-base machine.
Yes,
Over 1.5 is a machine. Listen, I used to just do the constant, the trio, George, of total bases over 1.5. Betts over 1.5. Freeman over 1.5. Ohtani over 1.5. But Freeman, for the record, Freeman has been smooth Freddy through spring training as well. He sort of carried over his hot streak. He's looked good in spring training for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, listen, I'm a big Freddie Freeman guy here. Right now, I'm looking at the bets and breakfast prop bets on FanDuel. Both teams, goose eggs. Both teams get shut out in the first inning. Kind of don't mind that.
I say yes. I don't think there's going to be a run in the first inning. There's always the fear of a swing of a bat of a home run here, but I'm expecting both these pitchers to be ahead of the hitters here in this spot. We're talking about two elite pitchers pitching in their home country as well. They're going to be fired up in that first inning.
I'm with you. Minus 128's on that, though. On that, I don't like anything else. Once again, you're not going to play sizzling start any player hit a home run in the first inning. No thanks. Over 10.5 runs. I don't think that's happening. Freeman, they call it excellent, by the way. 2+ hits plus 220. That's not enough. Not enough for me to go do that. What else we got here? Kyle Tucker, we just talked about the hit of home runs, plus 520. They call that.
What about those pitchers? The strikeout props are 4.5 and 5.5. It's always tough.
I'm not touching that the first game. I'm not touching. I don't know how long these guys are going to go.
You know what? I'm going to get suckered in here because I've seen this. Dude, last year, Yamamoto, dude, what did he have in the first game? I'll look it up here. I think he had like 5. He didn't last that long in the game either. Like, he's a strikeout pitcher. He's going to rack them up.
I think the Dodgers are going to baby these guys anyway. So if he's up to 80 pitches through 4 innings, he's done, right? I don't think. Listen, if I was going to bet it, it would be the over. Because I think I told you last week, going back to fantasy, is that I wasn't going to start Sasaki. Now I am going to start Sasaki tomorrow. So I'm sort of feeling a little bit better about the Dodger pitchers, but you're going to have to get these numbers probably in 5 innings. I mean, I think we'd be lucky to get any of these guys from the Dodgers or the Cubs to go 6 innings. First start of the game. That's why I get a little worried about this.
As far as home run, these are some of the future home runs. We'll blast through them. Aaron Judge, total home runs this year. 48.5, Kurtz, over under, 48.5.
He better get the over, because if he doesn't, the Yankees are in a lot of trouble. He's got to get 50
home runs to expect. He gets hurt.
That's the problem. Well, listen, the only injury he's had in the last 10 years is at your ballpark. So he should stay. Listen, you're hoping he stays healthy here. If he doesn't get 48, though, that means he got hurt. And that's bad for the Yankees. That's why I'm going with that.
I can't
bet it. I'm not betting it. No. The only Yankee home run prop I got was Bellinger, because it was 20.5. He should get that by mistake. Come on. It's Yankee Stadium.
All right. Adley Rushman, over under 21.5.
They brought the fences in at Camden, so that should help him. He's a switch hitter here. He was banged up last year. I believe he had a thumb injury. That's why his offense wasn't good the second half. I lean over, but I'm not betting it.
I lean over too, but it's one of those deals where I'm not.
Catcher. I don't bet catchers.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it. Like, if it was, 18.5 or something like that. Bregman is 19.5 now at Fenway. It's a pretty fair number. He's hit 23, 25, and 26 in the last 3 years.
I got the over on Bregman. His numbers in Fenway, granted it's against the Red Sox pitching, which has been bad, but his numbers in Fenway have been very good. I know people pointed out, well, Fenway won't matter because they got the Crawford boxes in Houston. True, but those Crawford boxes only jut out about 50 feet, man. That Green Monster is all of left field here. I think Bregman goes over.
Man, I'm all in on Boston. I already played him to win a division. Now I'm going to play Bregman over 19.5 home runs. Santander, Cam, on the Blue Jays, 31.5 home runs.
Over. There's no protection in the lineup. He's going to mash.
I believe.
What do you
I
think,
agree with Cam. I think he gets the over as well. That's what he does. If he's not hitting home runs, he's not giving you much else there. Santander's a home run hitter, small ballpark, over.
Yeah, the Blue Jays didn't take advantage of the new park last year at all, surprisingly enough. Nope. Right? We'll see if Santander actually does, and if Vlad can get it going at home. Bo Bichette, I can't play it, though, at 31.5. Bo Bichette, 19.5. He's not really a home run hitter. Speaking of Bryce Harper, 27.5, Kurtz, for Bryce Harper.
Once again, he should get that fairly easy to stay healthy. You play in a bandbox, for crying out loud. But his injury history does worry me, so I'm not playing it. By the way, Bo Bichette, I think Bo's going to have a big year, by the way. Big year for Bo.
Well, he's playing for money. He's playing for money.
That's
so,
one of the reasons why he's playing for money. And he's had a good spring. He almost has as many home runs in spring training right now as he had all of last regular season. I think Bo's going to have a big year.
Yeah, he actually hit one out of the stadium the other day. Like, he freaking killed it. Like, he literally, he smoked it into the parking lot, type of deal. You're right. I'm expecting a big year from Bo as well. Doesn't mean I love his home run prop, but he probably gets to 20. Corey Seager's 28 and a half. De La Cruz is another dude that's been murdering the ball in spring training. De La Cruz is 23 and a half, Kurtz, over under.
Over, be a smaller play, but over, once again, you're playing a bandbox, good hitter here. His stolen base props will be up there as well. But yeah, I'll take the over on De La Cruz, but I'm not as bullish on him as I am in the other guys.
Freddie Freeman is 21 and a half. Jose Ramirez is 28 and a half. Josh Naylor, 22 and a half. Juan Soto, 32 and a half. He's another one that's been killing the ball in spring training. Julio Rodriguez, 25 and a half. They're expecting a bounce back. I was talking about Mike Trout before. What's the updated number with Trout right now? Man, it keeps going up. It's 24 and a half right now for Trout.
I don't touch guys who get hurt.
Mookie Betts, 26 and a half. Well, Mookie Betts not playing in these 2 games. That's 2 games less he's playing in. Just saying. If you look at it.
He's not going to play next week either. Just kill him. No, I won't take Mookie's either.
Mookie, Pete Alonso, 35 and a half.
I think he gets it. I agree.
Shohei Ohtani, 42 and a half. Yeah. How does...
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. It's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not beating the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazi? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. We're taking a look at some of these home run props right now. Devers of the Red Sox. They settled the whole situation. Devers said, I told them how I felt about it, but I'm going to do what's for the best of the team. So we all knew that this would be the final outcome here. George, over under 30.5 for Devers at Fenway.
I mean, I think he gets the over, but I'm not betting it. I don't feel great about it. Once again, he does have very good power to left field, so he'll take advantage of the monster as well. But I like the Bregman bet a lot more than the Devers bet.
Yeah, a lot of these are kind of sharp. Like, they're very crisp numbers, right? O'Neal Cruz is 21.5, actually. Mookie Betts, 26.5. Mike Trout, 24.5. For me, like, the ones that really jump off, what's Machado here? Machado's 31.5. Tatis Jr. we brought up was, 30.5. You know, Soto over 32.5 as well. I think Soto goes over to 32.5. The three that catch my eye the most here, guys. I like the Bregman at 19.5. It's more than a fair number. Soto, a superstar at 32.5, but I don't see how he doesn't get like 33 or more. And I think Ohtani's he's gonna be around 50 again this year, 50 plus. I'd be surprised if he doesn't hit 50 plus.
Out of the big names, which guy's going to disappoint and go under?
I could see Alonso getting like 33, 34.
He's majorly protected in that lineup. He's going to get fastballs down the wazoo if he's batting anywhere.
Yeah, now he's got Soto. You're right. You're right. And I'd rather face Alonso him than Soto.
Over. I like Alonso to go well. Wait,
what about Trout? Just due to health?
No, I'm not touching Trout. You couldn't pay me to put money on Trout. No way. Nope. Not happening.
I say he stays healthy this year, but I don't like that it's up to 24.5.
If he stays healthy, he'll hit 40. So if he thinks he'll stay healthy, take the bet. But I'm not banking on that. I mean, what's the old saying? Those who don't follow history are doing the repeated or whatever it is. No thanks. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. No, I've been down this road before. I ain't doing it. There's so many home run props to play. I don't need to bet on the player's health. I'm just not doing it.
Here's regular season stat leaders. Like I said, you got everything here. All right. Who's going to hit the most home runs in baseball? Judge, plus 350. Ohtani, 6-1. Schwarber, 10-1. Brent Rooker, 16-1. Alonso, 18-1. Tatis Jr., 20-1. What do you think, George? Any
Rooker's an underdog, by the way. That ballpark in Sacramento, the ball's going to fly.
Oh, yeah, good call.
What's Rooker?
We got to go over on Rooker.
I'm over on Rooker as it is on his home run prop. But as far as him leading baseball, wouldn't shock me. You know, Judge comes down to make the low 40s. Rooker could hit mid 40s, high 40s. Well, wouldn't be a surprise at all here. I like Rooker a whole bunch.
Most stolen bases. De La Cruz, minus 105. Yeah, Corbin, there's a big drop-off. Corbin Carroll, plus 900. Okuda, 11-1. Most strikeouts. Skeens is the favorite.
If you're betting against De La Cruz for the stolen base, you're betting on him getting hurt. Skeens, they could baby him a little bit. I mean, if you want to bet against that and go for someone like Skubal, they also won't. They're not likely to be in playoff contention, so Skubal in Detroit should be. So that should help him pitch a little bit more. Zach Wheeler could be up here as well.
Most doubles. Durant plus 750. Holy 10-1. Bobby Witt 12-1. Ramirez 12-1. Freeman 14-1. Bregman 16-1. Yeah, where's Ohtani actually? Yeah, Bregman's going to smack a ton off that wall. I like the Red Sox coming into this year. Triples. You can bet most triples. Corbin Carroll 500. Duran 750. De La Cruz. He's a triples machine. 10-1. Bobby Witt Jr. 14-1. All right, Cam, what's your pick for the Cubs and the Dodgers game?
As I mentioned, I take the coward's way out with Cubs both games to plus money. One of them wins, we split, we make money. No runs in first innings. I agree with you guys. Tucker over 0.5 runs at plus 200. Edman over 1.5 bases. And we'll do Ohtani over 2.5. Freeman over 2.5. Those are the picks.
George, I'm going to go with the strikeouts, guys. I'm not going to be scared of this. I'm going to take a shot with the strikeout prop. Pitcher strikeouts. Yamamoto's up to 5.5 right now. Imanaga is 4.5. Yeah, 6 is just a little bit too high. And the Dodgers don't strike out a lot, actually, either. Will Smith might, but they're a pretty smart team. Give me the Dodgers to eke out a lower scoring win. I'll post some player props online. But I think the Dodgers win this game, but it goes under the number. You know, Dodgers win 3-1. I was going to say 3-1. 4-2 crossed my mind. Thinking 3-1, 4-2 is a possible. 4-3. But Dodgers any under. Dodgers any under. All right, well, tomorrow the tournament will be rocking North Carolina, San Diego State live tomorrow night, guys. Other than that, you're on your own.